Okay, so we are back and with you might have seen, excuse me, the video uh, that I put up between the first one and this one, and it's just basically me adding in. It's a quiet video. I didn't put any because I was listening to other music, but you know, this is what it is. This is where we're going from. We are starting here at C. Um, and we're just gonna go through it. I've got quite a few things. So we'll just listen to it from, let's go from 8, where we get that last two measures of what we had heard previously. We'll just go through it, we'll give it a listen, and then we'll start going through and, smoothing it out. So, a few things to unpack here. So to start with, we just got straight telling of it at C. Nothing to it. Oh, I missed a couple of things. Missed some staccatos. Why didn't y'all tell me about it? Um, then I basically pass it up in D, and it's basically the same thing. I've got a errant slur. Um, and it's it's basically the same thing. Little more. I mean, I started it with a D sustained chord, a suspended chord. Um, so DGAC. Uh, your mind is thinking F, so I play with it a little. And then I stall a little bit. Down an octave as kind of like an echo. Um, well then it should be if I had been attention that chat take down under the pick. Um, there's a lot of space. I said time one of the things to do is really focus on leaving room to grow, and you can see it growing three parts, sort of like a back and forth, and then all of a sudden we've got 4 parts, we've got 5 parts, we've basically got everybody, and it's building up not only there but also dynamically. And one thing I'm let's do that. Normally I would put dynamics after that because you're really supposed to dynamics after a hairpin, just so that you're clear about where you're going and not making assumptions. But it's fine here because there's a dynamic right in the next measure and a rest between them. But now we're louder. We're building up. You know, if you look at C, mezzo piano with everything else being piano. D, mezzo forte, everything else being mezzo piano, and then E, same thing. Forte with else being mezzo forte. But he here that we've hit a relative loud point, not only in forte, but we went from major to minor. So we're now in F minor instead of F major. There is a stall measure, and it should be this one. What I want here is this. So it's like yada ya ba da da. So here, technically three. If because you can get it lower. Here's a they two and one. And instead of speeding up the melody, um, can you push forward? I do is like melody back. Um, so I hold it out to play with audiences a percent of what they're hearing at that time. What I do is like instead of putting the motion in the melody, I put the motion in that repeating figure. Da 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 da, and then the flute. And then because I'm gonna have the flutes and the alto and the bass basically doing this rhythm, and I'm like, okay, I need the pick to basically come in and go ba 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 ba. But at the same time, I don't want this to be like marcato. I don't want it to be heavy. So we've got this jump from forte on the melody down 2 stages to mezzo piano, which is good. It gives that variance, and it's a drafty and we almost a par. You always have oh, that's very floaty. I guess is also another word. So then you get these chords. So like 52 is a complex chord. It's a oh, what is it? It's a the way I call it it's a D over an A chord or a flat over D flat chord. Have your E, your G, your B. Um, I'm trying to remember what it is. It's like it's a E flat 7 add 4. So normally when you look at chords, especially like major chords, you'll have like a straight major chord like E flat, G, and B flat are the chord structure of it, the pitches. And then if you sus it, it becomes E flat, B flat, and the G moves up to an A flat or can move down to an F. The common sus is 4, so E flat, A flat, B flat. But it becomes fun when you have both the A flat and the G at the same time, so that 4 and the 3. So you're basically bunting heads with the E flat sus 4 and just generic flat. A lot of theory, I know, but basically, one of the key things that I did here is if you look at it top to bottom, it's not E flat, G, A flat, B flat, D flat. It's flat, move to the flat, move to the flat. So underneath you have that sus chord, which me allows for a level of imbalance to kind of say, hey, we're not static yet, we're not settled. And then you add the D flat, which is fun because then your ear wants to pull it down to a C to make that resolution to A flat. But then you have the G, up top, and then I basically move a couple of the notes around to now make it a D flat, a D flat major 7 over E flat, which is a more some, not the chord, more a consonant word. I guess you could. It sounds more stable than the previous chord. And then at that point, I'm like, okay, now what I need to do is I need to start trying to force a resolution or resolute back to A flat because that's where I want to. So I feel okay, well, got D flat, and you can do sort of walk down like you can D flat F minor D flat B flat G flat and have the G flat resolve to A flat. So the cool thing there is I've already got the D flat chord in 54. Even though the bass is on E flat, ignore that. That's just a pedal tone, ostinato, whatever you want to call it. Not really much of an ostinato. I'm basically moving the chord above it, above the bass line, to get ready for the resolution. So 55, you've got the B flat chord. It's really a B flat minor chord. Then that B flat chord resolves to the G flat chord, which then gives us a resolution to D flat again. It basically allowed for me to continue to the melody, and it well. So the 57, you now have the stand 4, which this is the D flat chord. Then you have the 4 major 2 5 1, or they always talk about 2 5 1s. So it's the same thing here. 4 2 5 1 chords. So D flat to B flat minor. The B flat minor then resolves to the E flat, and boom, we got the A flat resolution. The section at G is basically calling back to the beginning, or rather, the beginning was calling to this point. Sort of. I mean, I wrote the beginning before I wrote this one because I write in order and then I go back and then I smooth. So everything I write is basically through composed. So what I did here was, you have the ba ba da da ba ba da da ba, and then I kind of stabilize it with the ya da 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 part da 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 in flute 1. The underlying melody that you see here in these parts, the ba da da ba da ba, I don't know if this is gonna pick up right. Let me pull out my EV. Hang on a second. Let me try and move this down to the mic down to the EV itself. It's basically the part where you got and then the same thing when you get over to 66. Oh, that didn't pick up very well. Hang on. Oh, weird key fingers. It's the same thing. As that's actually, let me put the headset back on. That's actually coming from the melody back here, right here. Ba da ba ba da. There's this pattern that constantly happens. Ba 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 da ba ba, and then you have this ba da ba da ba, 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 and it's very noticeable. So I took it and that I'm like ba da ba da ba 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 da da ba. Did the same thing, and I'm like Marty and A flat, just do that here because the melody has been basically throwing it at you. You've heard it. It's a little mini earworm, and I'm like, okay, so I'm the same thing. I'll use it as kind of pulling my way through the section. Some good thing, kind of like a mini leitmotif. Um, and then what I do is I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to ring this in right now and be like, okay, now I gotta get back to the F major, gotta get back to the final resolution and such like that. So I'm like, okay, so what can I do? And I've got this G flat chord, and I'm like, oh, this G flat right here, or G flat 6, E flat minor, so, whatever. E flat, it's basically G flat, B flat, E flat. So I have two choices. I can resolve it to A flat, which is pretty simple, or I can resolve it down to F. And I'm like, but I don't want to go straight to F. I need to reset everyone's ears. So that's one of the key things about key changes. You have to be ready to modulate. You have to modulate not just the music, but you have to basically modulate everyone's ears listening to it. Uh, um, so it's okay. Well, I need focus on a C chord if I'm gonna ready for that. So it's okay. Rule number one: the last measure has to be a G minor chord to a C7 chord, because then that provides that strength of pulling us back to F major. 2-5-1. Um, so I'm like, but I want focus heavily on C. So then I was looking at it when I was writing this in my handwritten score last night, and I'm like, okay, so I've got this to basically not be the roots of the chords, but also to say, oh, you're gonna go and it's stuff, I'm like, that's not a C. Heard of it. Part of the E chord there. What just that sing there, and can back earlier where did C did a chord to an augment chord of D flat instead of sharp. Um, and then that kind of helped stabilize it there. And I'm like, well, I'll just do the same thing here. I'll do a C major chord to start with. Um, it's a tritone away from the G flat. So it really, that accompanied with the crescendo and the falling pattern at the same time, which I love doing. I love going the opposite of usually like typically a little louder, runs down, you typically get a little softer. And I'm like, yeah, so I put I was like, okay, so I'll just do the major chord on a forte, coming out of a crescendo from a G flat chord. Perfect. And it works because everything just rolls right into it. The alto and bass are probably going to be like, oh, what? But it works. Very simple for them to move between them without any real problems. And then I just basically get a straight C chord. Um, then I do a D flat chord. So if you look at 70 and 72, same notes, same rhythms. 70 and 71 are same rhythms. 2, 3, and alto have moved up from the C to the D flat just above it. So they all moved up a half step. The bass moves down to an A flat because it's in my mind, it's helping anticipate the progression from the C major chord in 72 down to the 73's opening G minor chord. It just would sound different in my mind if I did like a straight D flat chord where everything moved up. Because in my mind, I'd have to find something that would allow 72 to have a different feeling from 70. But some, when I wrote it and think about it, but it's almost like dun 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 pum pum pum. Around the first day of Christmas. No, it kind of gives that feeling. But anyway, all right. So let's go through all the scenes one by one and see if we need to do any smoothing or any changes to it. So we'll start here at 30 with the 2-measure intro. Okay, so the old thing that I can simply say is I want a little bit of a oomph on that. So maybe like this. So it's really meant to be ba-ba-da-da, that pop again that we talked about in the first one. So let's go to 34, and we'll go all the way up in the 40 just to, hear it. Let's try these staccato. Um, all of these notes right here. We'll just add staccatos to them. I'm not going to do it for 38 for the bass, but I will for everything else. So it's adding too much weight to it. The ba wah 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 wah. So let's see if this bounces better. Okay, yeah, we'll get to that right. I think that works. I think it's what I want. It's definitely going to be something where maybe what I really want here is play with more dynamics, like this. Maybe more like this, like it's barely even there. Yeah. I think that's okay. So this part is a in 7 measures again, but it's two areas. But listen to all of it and then work it section by section if needed. Okay. Um. So what I might want to do. Let's do this. Um. So it goes like that. So what I'm hoping for is ba 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 da ba 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 da 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 ba ba da ba ba da ba. Um, so that the in my mind, there's different reasons for measures like 42 where I'm stalling. Um, I'm stalling so that it's not something repetitive, so that it changes the feel. Um, for me, it's always a challenge, specifically for me, to keep energy up. So what I do is I fake energy with offsetting rhythm, um, changes, modulations, dynamic changes, add measures, dropping beats, measures, adding beats, measures. Basically, it throws the energy all over the place. And by energy, I just basically mean like if you hear something that it's really a tempo thing and it's not upbeat downbeat thing. It's just oh, the term the it's basically like the rhythm tempo, like the pulse doesn't feel as pushing forward. It feels like it can very easily slow itself down. So I'm trying to avoid that, but I'm also trying to play with listeners as they hear it anyway. So it's hard to describe things sometimes. I'm trying to describe them and my head's going a lot faster than my mouth is. So let's see what it sounds like this and if it works for what I'm wanting it to. Yeah, yeah. Okay, that worked. Um, what I want here, it was like ba 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 ba. What I want is more like ba 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 ba. So we do the same thing here. Okay, so let's try 47. Okay, that what I changed. 55 and 56. I don't want to make them all staccato. Like, okay, it's ba 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 ba. What I could do is keep the same rhythm going, and add the theme. Woo! I'm on the wrong. It's on the wrong row on the keyboard. Let's try that. We'll just start at 51. Okay, so now I've got the problem of 55 and 56 sound great. 57 and 58 sound awkward. And whatever I do in 57 and 58, I have to port back to 55 and 56 in the piccolo so that it's a consistent articulation there. And it's not just like, ya da 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 da, ba 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 ba. you know, be consistent about it. So the question is, yeah, yeah, wait, haven't pop, yeah, yeah, move it. So what if it was something like this? So you'd have so. Okay. Does 57 sound better now? Okay, let's go back to 51 and hear it, especially with 55 in there now. Okay, that works. I like that. Da, ba, ba. So it's cool because also it's also interesting. You're playing three against two game Hemiola, sort of. It's not Hemiola. It's I mean, sort of is. So you have two up there. One, two. You have two magic three beats, and down here Ace is giving you basic three magic quote unquote of two beats. Ba 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 ba. But the accents, the articulations in all the other parts are different than what the bass has. So it's interesting how that'll all line up. So it should work very nicely. I have no problems on 59 and 60. Um, so 61 through as far as I've gotten, what I'm really thinking here is how do I want to do this? Maybe what I want to do here is something more like this, and drop an octave. And then what I can do is I can go that. Whoop, nope, nope. Put those notes back. Something like that. And then maybe what I do here is do the reverse. So like um that means I'm to move the dynamic working over here. Whoop, wrong one. Wrong key. Wrong lever. Okay, let's give that a try. See how that sounds. I like it. It varies. Not just saying. Right from 61. I don't think I needed to do changing on this part. Okay. The one thing that I'm thinking, and we'll give it a try, and if it doesn't work, then I'll revert it. It's back at the beginning we had that but ba-da-da rhythm. So what if I change this to be more like that? Now the question is, can I get away with just having the bass do it? Or maybe what I need to do is, well, let's hear it with that now. The funny thing is, it should all be on beat 4. So pop 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 ba da da pop 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 ba da da boom 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 boom. Ooh ooh. Let the bass do something fun like this. So now the measures become symmetrical. The 70 and 72 are the same, and they're on either side of 71. Okay. I don't know if I like this measure like that. So like maybe the bass keeps going. Something like that. So what does that sound like now? Yeah. Okay, I like that. Um what if I play with this? What if I do something like now I'm just adding things to play with it, but does it work? I think so. I think that works. So let's go back, listen to the whole thing, and see if there's anything else that we want to change. I'm going to make some notes. Um, if there are anything, and then if there is anything, and if not, we'll call this one another good episode. And we'll go next one once I got where him from here. I almost feel like this section right here at 70 add 3 more measures. Keep this unbalanced. This is more like the 7 measures of Christmas. So what if I flip these? See, now I got to work within the chord. Now I got to mess with the chord and be careful about it. Um, you know what? I'm going to make that a G diminished chord instead. So what if I do something like this? Okay, let me put all the staccatos in. And this may not work, and the good thing you can always take it out. No, these need to be separate. Ooh. What if this is just a constant G at this point? Well, let's hear it first. See if it makes sense to have. I almost want to make that pick like go. But now I question what happened if I pedal tone this. Okay, and I wanted to make this like that. So now what I've done is I've made, so this is C, this is D flat over A flat in the bass, C again, C over G, D flat over G, C over D, the G diminished, and then the G flat 5, and then the C7. So try that. Mm, that okay. So what I'm gonna say is it's really hard when writing something to be at the end of where you're at so far and then just be like, does this work? It's really hard to say, does this 7 measure section work? Does it work on its own? Yeah, I think it sounds pretty cool. Does it work in the context of what's going to happen in 77? I don't know. Like, I can mess with this all I want to kind of like expand it a little and to add a little more to it. Like, I could work on section G And then I go, oh, okay, and I need to work on H. But I'm looking at G from the perspective of coming out of F and going into H. And that's part of what smoothing is. Like smoothing for me is like if you it's what I call it smoothing because it's like smoothing is a piece of paper. You start one and you just push through. And you stop after read it a continue to not piece of paper. What you is you like unlike a fat paper want a piece of piece of paper, but physically you want a paper that's a little bit text to it. You know? Like yeah tell a story through its texture. It just the whole time we don't be putting C or B letter or we'd all just be drawing along. Technically don't want flat piece of paper or it's like I know I have the roof here, but I can't think of what it is. Uh, let's see if I can't find some. Uh, so the popcorn type texture ceiling like that, like this part, it's like a wall. It doesn't really do much for you. I mean, a wall does stuff for you, but it just kind of sits there. But then you look up at the ceiling and you're like, wow, that's an interesting pattern up there. Nice thing. Never knew that's how they did a drywall stomp texture. Huh, that's interesting. But yeah, musically, you don't want this because it's way too flat, boring, it drums, it annoys the ear. But we just listen to that as far as I've gotten, and it's this, or I'm trying to make it like that. I'm trying to make it like something like that, something like that. You know, all these different textures to make it feel cool. Don't ignore that. That's me working on the crap. Um, the only thing I might do is I'm wondering if this. I think what I do here is I want to add a measure, and the reason I want to add a measure is because it's easy enough for your ear to distinguish things as you add to them. So let's think of it like a pyramid. You put the foundation down. Cool. Now let's add the next thing. All right, next layer. Okay, cool. Add the next layer. And you keep adding layers to it. And musically, when I think of that, I think of, like how we had beginning. This this is one level of texture. This is another layer of texture. Even though it's two parts, it functions as one textural element. And then this is also one. Like this is just one texture element broken up. So I think what I'm worried about is when you hear like 61, see if you can easily leak out which is the melody 62. Right now, I think the reason it's kind of in your fist because of the dynamic level. Um, but dynamic levels come a computer. The way real people are going to perform on real instruments doesn't necessarily match. And by necessarily, I mean it really. It's an approximation. What the computer tries to do. So maybe what I want to do is this stall that, bring this back under, and something like that. The problem is, I think what I want to do here is add with this about mezzo piano. So let's see if that works. So now the question is, like, I want to add a second play of that. Like like an echo of it. Something of that. But let's figure out it. So let's see how well that sounds. Is it the wrong octave? Like it sounds right, but it also sounds wrong, you know? I think that's what it is. I think it was just a wrong octave. Um, but I don't think it should be this loud. I think it needs to follow suit. So what I need to do is I need to say that to that. That should be what I'm looking for. Ba-da-da-da-dum, boom, boom. That I like that if it's the right pitch that I want. Yeah, that works. So now let's listen to 61 2 as far as I've gotten. And then I think we're good. Okay. I don't like, I want to do this. Oops. But, okay, let's go back to 74. Yeah, okay. Okay, that works. And of course, my brain is now brain is now hearing F tone center. I want to be over here. So what I'm at here, and I'm trying to real quick about in 62 is I wanted to leave space, but I didn't want to lose the pulse. So like I wanted a ba ba da 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 ba da da ba ba da 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 ba da da ba ba da da ba ba. But I want to be like ba da da ba, you know, kind of keep the pulse going. Let's see if this works. Maybe I carry that and beat in oh like yeah or but then you almost need it in 64, right? No, no, you don't. I don't think you do. I'll keep that in mind for later. Um, okay. Well, with that being said, we've done so far, um, 77 measures of music, which is about 2.5 minutes. This one I was planning to only be about three, at most 3.5. Um, Short for me. But I think this is working pretty well so far. Uh, so that being said, and me yawning because I didn't get a lot of sleep, we'll play it one more time and then we'll call it a video. All right. Call apart and work on the next part and figure out where we're going with it. All right.